composers talk about their music, and then I cut it up and make it sound like an audio drama. So my name is John, and right now I'm in the middle of editing this composer from Atlanta, Georgia, Stephen Melin, his Pink voiceover, along with all of the blue stuff, which is the separate stems to a music track that he's sent through called Devil's Gamble. So he's explaining how this show works. He's the music composer for an audio drama called Dark Dice, which is an actual play D&D podcast. So here we go.
Game, but during the recording, we're using music to bring the story to life.
That he's fallen from
Cool.
the light,
And a clip from the audio drama.
very far. And I have no doubts in Pia's accomplishment and her skill, but I fear that I may have been too rash to run away like I did.
Cool, that's cool. And now what we want to do is get just as a little transition, just bump up the delay there a bit, the reverb at least.
From the light, fallen very far. And I have no doubts in Pia's accomplishment and her skill, but I fear that I may have been too rash to run away like I did.
What I'm looking for is a curve. How do we curve this again? Yeah. Cool. Come on, man. Where is it? There's a way to do it. There we go. You grab it like that.
Fallen very far. And I have no doubts in Pia's accomplishment and her skill, but I fear that I may have been too rash to run away like I did.
Cool. I'm going to cut all of that, and we should have a nice reverb tail.
Too rash to run away like I did.
Now it drops in with a nice heavy impact while he talks about boss battles.
The intensity is increased.
There we go. There.
In the Dark Dice show, there are a bunch of boss battle moments.
Okay, I like what he's saying, but let's pause for the second impact.
In the Dark Dice show, there are a bunch.
Okay, bring that forward and let that go there.
In the Dark Dice show, there are a bunch of boss battle moments, and this is.
Let's push that even further forward.
In the Dark Dice show, there are a bunch of boss battle moments. And this is when the intensity is increasing. There are stems, so they're separate instruments.
Okay, see what I'm doing is I'm actually pausing to let those impacts, these louder sounds, come through so that it's not being crushed by his vocals.
The intensity is increasing. There are stems,
Yeah.
so they're separate instruments. The producers can actually throw in any combo of these instruments at any time to help up the intensity.
Cool, let's do a fade in on these action drums. I like the
Of
way-
these instruments at any time to help up the intensity.
Yeah, there we go. Cool, that's great. That's an example of upping the intensity. There we go. Nice big pause, followed by
Where the intensity is
a
increasing,
nice big pause, followed by
where the intensity is increasing, then they might throw in the drums. Or they might throw in the cello.
it looks like I've pushed it back a little bit too much. So let's bring it here.
Where the intensity is increasing, then they might throw in the drums.
Okay, so we've got a major competition for that frequency there. So I'm going to actually cut out that impact.
Then they might throw
Throw in.
in the drums.
The drum sounds quite distant,
The drums.
and we need that last
In.
sibilant.
The drums.
Okay, I see
The
why.
drums.
I've cut it off mid-sentence. Right, I just need to push that volume up a little bit.
The drums.
Yeah, power.
Or they might throw in.
I've also moved it up to the pre-master by mistake.
The intensity is increasing, then they might throw in the drums.
Why does it sound so distant there? Have I got a voice? Oh, there we go. So there was a volume fade on the pre-master, which means that this needs to be reset. Otherwise, it's going to come out blazing. Okay, good.
Where the intensity is increasing, then they might throw in the drums.
It's not actually drums, it's sticks, but anyway. It's all about the experience.
Or they might throw in the cello.
Let's bring that forward.
Or they might throw in the cello.
There.
things that will help make it feel more intense.
Yes, this is all very intense. I do like it. Except the cello is a little bit loud. Let's bring that guy down a couple dB.
Make it feel more intense. We're actually working on a video game right now, working on the soundtrack, which is going to be an extension of the Dark Dice universe, and we get to reuse some of those for actual boss battle moments in the games. So I'm really pumped about that.
As you should be.
I'm a huge gamer, and that just fills my heart with all kinds of gladness.
Okay, I'll trim that a little bit later, make it sound much better. Now, this is one of my
So
favorites.
this is the horror harp. Sounds like this.
I get chills like down the back of my neck, like an ASMR response when I hear that. Okay, I do kind of want to do more with that. It sounds like it could benefit from a bit of delay, so let's get the delay amount up there. I know that there's a smarter way to do this, I just can't YouTube it yet. I don't have time to look up it. No, okay, that's not coming through. Why not? Is this the frequency? Yeah, I think it's this one. Let's try this. There it is, yeah. Okay, I can barely hear it now. So what we want to do is pump that all the way up. There, that's volume, okay. Just a subtle
Like
little...
this.
That's nice, yeah.
One-of-a-kind instrument. It's over 100 years old. This is actually an antique harp passed down from my wife's grandmother. Way back in the Great Depression, 1920s.
Let's actually keep it ringing. Let's just go all the way, yeah. Let's take it up to there and then down to here. Okay.
It was like this. One-of-a-kind instrument. It's over 100 years old. This is actually an antique harp passed down from my wife's grandmother. Way back in the Great Depression, 1920s, 1930s, they couldn't afford strings, so they put guitar strings on here. It's never been tuned for 100 years, just about, and now it sounds like this. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Ever since I used this,
Okay, I'm also going to add some of the reverb that makes everything sound better. So let's get an indefinite reverb fade for now. In fact, yeah, that goes up there. I'll just leave it up. Okay.
but it's amazing. Ever since I used this for the first time on Dark Dice, it was actually this track. Travis just lost his mind and he thought that was the coolest thing in the world because it's so messed up and you can actually hear the rattling wood in it and it's just creepy.
And now we bring the violins in. Good. So that's quite a good transition. Now he talks about violins.
I'm a violinist and I've been playing for about 20 years. But there are very cool times like this where we need these aleatoric, random, atonal sounds. And so I'll literally just go, you know, I'll just pick it up and go crazy. Let me grab it. Why not?
Yeah.
You don't have
Okay, we gotta add some reverb there.
because it's so it's for the first time.
Creepy.
It's aleatoric to be good at scraping it.
Okay, let's boost the reverb there. But the problem with this is that he
Let me grab it. Why not?
talks. Oh yeah, I know what the problem. The problem here is that he actually. Okay, I don't have time for that. It's
Why
fine.
not? You don't have to be good at an instrument to do that. You literally just you whack your instrument, whack it with the wood.
Live.
And makes these glorious noises that have no business belonging in any soundtrack.
What I could do is just bring it down
Why not?
to this. Just create a new one and bring it down to here.
Let me grab it. Why not? Grab it. Why not?
Okay, and then let's kill the delay. We don't want it on everything. So delay down.
Grab it. Why not? You don't have to be good at an instrument to do that. You literally just, you whack your instrument. Whack it with the wood. Whack it with the wood.
Collinear. Okay.
Whack your instrument. Whack it with the wood.
Whack it with the wood. Okay, how are we doing for volume there? No, we don't need to dip the volume. Good, thank you.
Let me grab it. Why not? You don't have to be good at an instrument to do that. You literally just whack your instrument. Whack it with the wood. Or just scraping it.
Okay, let's get that guy back up there.
Or just scraping it. It makes these glorious noises that have no business belonging in any soundtrack. Listen out for glissandos and scrapes and sound effects that I've also recorded with the violin in the track.
Cool. There's a little send-off with the reverb, with the
Originally,
delay.
when I was presented,
Let's give that a bit more. Okay. All about transitions, man. Let's give that a bit more of a... No, I want to push everything forward here. There we go. Just let that breathe a bit more before the next section. So here we are.
also recorded with the violin in the track.
And to do a sort of delay, a sort of fade out, it's more like a high cut
in the track. Originally, when I was presented with this track, I wanted to have a...
Okay, it starts talking as the music starts playing, which is not ideal. So let's shift that up in tandem now.
In the track.
Maybe
track, I wanted...
Yeah, let's start it there.
The track.
Okay, we'll do a fade in here. And we've got to kill the... I think we've got to kill this, yeah.
Violin in the track.
That's better. Good. Let's try. Now we wait.
Originally, when I was presented with this track, I wanted to have a low tension. So what I did is I recorded the solo cello.
That's big sound there.
And I also asked them to record it a second time, and we did a pitch shift down an octave.
There we go, nice and low.
So whenever you hear any of the cello, chun, 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 whenever it's really scrubbing as hard as they can play, it just creates the perfect rich tone that's not muddy, but has the clarity that you'd get from a cello. So behind me in my studio, whenever I work and have an inspired idea to add percussion, I just grab my percussion box. It's full of all kinds of goodies that I've collected throughout the years, but some that have made it into this track, Devil's Gamble, most notably is the tambourine, which may not seem like a very sophisticated instrument, but even just having those kinds of rattles in the background, that can actually add so much power. You'll never get the intensity you want until you add the high range as well.
Okay, so here's the problem. I looped this section, but I accidentally included his voice going tsk. So I need to now there's a breath there too. I'm going to just leave the breath in, but at the same time I need to, Yeah, loop that section. No, not that. This. And you, my friend, are the new grouped item. Now I gotta loop that. Oops. Accidentally adding a new instrument here. Wait for that to load. Bugger off. Okay. And now we go to loop source. Good. This is like when you come from an Ableton Live background, you tend to like find excuses to loop stuff, but it's actually not very easy in Reaper. Reaper's good for editing dialogue, but it's compositional stuff bows down to Ableton. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's better.
Whenever I can, I use samples. I use MIDI to get the low end, and I actually use an EQ to strip away the mids and the highs. And then I like to use real instruments recorded because of the sloppiness. I don't quantize them. I don't perfect them. I literally grab a tambourine or something like a shaker, get that high end. A foreign drum like a dudebek, which sounds like this.
That was just him playing it in his room.
One of the secrets I've learned.
Okay, what is one of the secrets you've learned? Tell us the secrets you've learned. Okay.
One of my.
Let's lose that, yeah. Okay, actually it's not necessary. We're talking to... Okay.
One of my favorite instruments to pull out of the box is a wood flute.
Flute.
This is actually a bamboo flute that's been wood burned, and it has this almost like a grave, like a haunted sound. I'm not aiming for notes, but even if you just blow on the lowest note, you add some reverb to that or some delay to that, and you spread it out in the mix, it creates this haunting vibe. So I love to use this whenever there are softer, quieter moments to just let it soar on top. It's got to feel human and musical. In music theory, there is a chord or an interval relationship called the tritone. It's a sharp 4 or a flat 5.
Let's put this up here as well.
Music theory, there is a chord or in
music theory, Glenn.
In music theory, there is and musical.
I also feel like we need to push this back a little bit to keep that haunting episode. What's next? That's very hard. We don't need to do it like that. Let's open that all the way up and bring the velocity down. Okay, so this is a section where I've actually gone and written some piano to highlight what he's saying. This is one of my favorite parts about doing this podcast, when you get an opportunity to input your own music. And it's very simple. It's just he's demonstrating what a tritone is. So now I'm using a piano patch to illustrate that. That's nice, huh? Okay.
In music theory, there is a chord or an interval relationship called the tritone. It's a sharp 4 or a flat 5. And it's known as one of the most evil and diabolical relationships in music. When I was
Let's bring this down an octave. I just had this idea to bring this down an octave.
And a flat 5.
Yeah, that's
and it's
much
known
better.
as one of the most evil and diabolical relationships in music.
Certainly
When
is, yeah.
I was writing this, I had no intention of using tritones, but it's really funny thinking back and looking back at it that this is just completely filled with tritones.
Let's just try to catch his breath a bit there.
This is just completely filled with tritones. Tones.
Tones. Dun, dun.
And that was totally unintentional. I think that's one of the tropes that people lean into because it works. So it was very subconscious, but I think it's also neat that I used the devil's chord in Devil's Gamble.
I'm not sure what I was going for here. Maybe just
that I used the devil's chord in Devil's Gamble.
that hurdy-gurdy is dominating. We don't need it so loud. Thank you. Come on. There. Cool.
I use the devil's chord in Devil's Gamble. I use the devil's chord in Devil's Gamble.
Let's bring it forward a bit.
But I think it's also neat that I use the devil's chord in Devil's Gamble.
I mean, we obviously want a nice big delay, a reverb.
It was very subconscious, but I think it's also
cool, and we go up from there. And that is about it for this week's episode. Okay, now I think I'm gonna I don't think I gave him instructions to redo the outro, so I'm just gonna steal it from last week's, which is here. And that is about it for this week's episode. Cool.
it for this week. That's about it for this week's episode. We'll listen to the full track in just a moment, but before we do that, thanks for listening to How I Make Music. Catch new episodes every Wednesday on Spotify, Apple, or wherever else. We've been listening to music featured in the audio drama called Dark Dice. To hear the full story or to check out some of my sample instruments that I've built for this very show.
Now can I delete that?
To hear the full story or to check out story, follow the links in the show notes. To hear the full story, follow the links. To hear the full story, follow the links in the show notes. You can go to Simple Sample. Follow the links in the show
kill
notes.
the Simple Samples plug. Okay, and I'm just editing it. Yeah, so you get an idea. From here on out, it's not really anything glamorous or useful. All I'm going to do is just go back through and do some kind of nip-tuck stuff. So that's it. Another short episode of how I make music. Dramatic audio editing using music and sound effects to bring a story to life. And this is what I do. So if you're interested in finding out more or audio experiences that keep people listening, contact John Bartman via the show notes. My name's John, and thanks for checking it out. And go to howimakemusic.com if you want to listen to this final cut of this episode. Thanks for watching. Ciao for now.